You've probably heard a lot of people condemning the Trump assault on Venezuela and the abduction of its sitting president, its de facto president, Nicolas Maduro, as an attack on its sovereignty, as a violation of international law. Well, as somebody who has friends from Venezuela and who has been in touch with people who have been persecuted by the Chavista regime over the last 20 years, what I can say is that the other side of this story is the suffering of the Venezuelan people. This is a regime that tortures citizens who speak out against it, that imprisons people, that disappears people. This is a regime that basically just claims victory in elections when it loses. I care about international law. I care about national sovereignty, but there are things more important than international law and national sovereignty, because the purpose of any legal regime, the purpose of international law is to safeguard peace and order to the benefit of the persons and peoples who live in the world. An international law that is blind to the suffering of peoples, that is blind to people's right to be protected from torture, is deeply defective. There was no solution forthcoming from international law for Venezuela. China and Russia can veto any decision to enact some kind of military assault against the Maduro regime. So no matter how many human rights violations that occur on Venezuelan soil, the international community is powerless under current conventions to intervene. No matter how many reports come out of the United Nations or other international bodies detailing the crimes against humanity and the abuses that are being inflicted on the Venezuelan people, this does not provide relief to the people who are rotting in torture cells in Venezuela. Nobody really, I think, believes that Trump is some kind of a humanitarian saint. But Venezuelan people were celebrating in the streets after Trump got rid of Maduro. Why? Because they had been living for years under his brutal dictatorship. So of course they were happy to see him go. Was Trump's action authorized under current international legal conventions? Probably not. Does that mean that his actions were wrong? That is unclear to me. It's unclear to me that his actions were wrong because, not because of his own personal motives, but because they were probably the only way to open up a small window of opportunity for a positive change for the Venezuelan people, for them to escape the dictatorship they've been living under for the past 2 decades. The people who are getting high and mighty about this and who are kind of condemning the Trump attack on Venezuela as an assault on Venezuelan sovereignty, I would just ask them to, for a moment, empathize a little bit with people who live under dictatorship and what that means for them. It means poverty. It means no access to basic medical care. It means that they or their relatives or their friends are at risk of arrest and torture for daring to question the regime. Now, picture yourself and imagine yourself living that regime. Do you think you would be so concerned with the legal niceties of international conventions if you've been living under that regime for decades? Or do you think you would welcome a military intervention with open arms? I have a simple question for the people who are against any military intervention in Venezuela. And the question is this: what is your solution? Given that the international legal system has left Venezuelans to rot under a dictatorship for the past 2 decades, what do you think was going to change in the near future to alleviate the plight of Venezuelans? What mechanism in international law do you think would have been applied successfully, or could have been applied successfully, to alleviate their plight in the absence of a military intervention? What price are you willing to pay to preserve this particular set of rules? That is the question I have for you.